Hello everyone. In this video in our series on advanced features in SoftChalk, I want to take just a couple of moments and introduce you to the quiz group, show you the different ways in which a quiz group can be displayed within your SoftChalk module, and then give you a couple of tips or a couple of practical applications on when you might want to use the quiz group. So a quiz group is nothing more than a quiz popper that has multiple questions. If you have been watching the videos in this series, you would see that a quiz popper is a single quiz question that you can use for quick, oftentimes informal feedback to the student on a very specific topic or concept that you have presented. Whereas with a quiz group, this may have something to do with an overall lesson or a larger component of the lesson where you are providing multiple questions on the information that you've presented to your students. If you use quizzes in D2L, this is a great alternative because you can encapsulate more of your information into a single source. So when you're building out your D2L courses, if you put your quizzes inside SoftChalk as opposed to putting them in D2L, it can give you a cleaner look. It gives your students the impression that they don't have as much to do in a module, whereas if you have 2 or 3 quizzes in that module, then they may think that they have these quizzes and then discussions and they think that they have a lot to do, whereas if you build it all within SoftChalk, it gives the illusion that there's not as much to do. And yet you're still providing the same assessments and the same content in your course. So I would only recommend using these, however, if you use questions that can be auto-graded within the platform. So multiple choice questions, multiple answer questions, true, false, matching, those sorts of questions. I would not recommend using this for short answer questions or essay type questions, and that's mostly just for logistics. And in a separate video, I'll talk about the score center that's in SoftChalk Cloud and using the score center and how you could access all your scores and all your submissions from your students. So when we look at a quiz group, they're actually displayed within a SoftChalk module in a very similar fashion that a quiz popper is. We can either set them as an icon, we can set them as a hyperlink, or we can embed them directly. So in this instance here, we've set our quiz as an icon. I would recommend putting some type of title here, or maybe a header that says something about the quiz, and then maybe give some instructions or something along those lines, just so that it clarifies what this is. You will notice when I place my cursor over this that I do get some alt text that pops up that will tell students what that is. However, I would still encourage you to add some additional information. So once students see this icon and they click on it, then they will get a pop-up, just like we saw with the quiz popper. They can then input their answers. They would click next after each question, and then they would check their answers, and then it would give them their overall score that they would have gotten from that particular quiz group. I'll close that. Here's another example. This is directly from a hyperlink. We get the same pop-up. One thing that you'll notice here in this example is that we've set the quiz questions to display all at one time. So you'll notice question, 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 and then check answers at the bottom. Whereas in our previous example, it's set to only show one question at a time. So the student has to click next. And that's really up to you, knowing your students and how you want your quizzes to display. And then the last way, again, is to embed a quiz directly into Create. So they would take the quiz and check answers. You can also embed this where it would only show one question at a time, and the students would have the option to click next until they got to the end of the quiz, and then they could check their answers. So this is the quiz group. This just gives you a quick overview of the quiz group and some applications of it. I hope you found this helpful, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks so much.